Okay, well, it's vest time. As you can see, I'm shaking things up, and I have to wear my vest about 3 or 4 times a day, and it helps loosen all the sludge that I was telling you about that I cough up all day. It helps loosen it up, shakes it loose to where it makes it a little easier to cough out. Pretty gross, I know. So anyway, it is what it is, and I gotta do what I have to do. So when I'm wearing my vest, you can't really sit down, and the purpose is to get things loose. So you want to get upright. I usually go up and down the stairs a few times when I have my vest on, just for the exercise. The vest in and of itself weighs about 15 to 20 pounds, so that weight of it, and going up and down the stairs. Then, I am blessed. I have a cordless, and I don't have hoses. My old vest that I used to have had hoses, and I would have to stand next to the machine, hang onto the hoses, and it looked like I was launching off into space. So I am extremely blessed with this new model. There's, no hoses, no cords. I plug it in and charge. This is the battery pack on the back, and keep it charged up. And then I am hands-free, cords-free, and it makes it very nice. So with this ability to be able to leave the machine, so to speak, which I used to have to stand next to that machine for 20 minutes, and I would do exercises like leg lifts and different things, which is really good. You can take and do these little leg lifts, and anything that you do additional while you're wearing this vest really does help move stuff around. And when I say you can't really sit down and use the vest, you could, but it's not going to work as effectively or as efficiently. So I try to get as much exercise in or movement in as possible. And, I can do chores, I can do a lot of things. So right now I'm going to go over and work on my plants. I've got great little plants over here that need some time and attention. So I'm going to work on my plants and fold laundry and do a few different household chores that never ever end, as you know. And this is a way, as I'm wearing my vest, I say I kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Being active and continuing with my day and having the ability to, because I'm not stuck on a machine or a cord, is huge for me. It helps a lot, and as you guys can tell, since 4 o'clock this morning, my voice has gotten much better, and it will continue to get better as I get this stuff shook loose and out of my airways. Again, cystic fibrosis is one of the grossest diseases in the world, and a lot of people don't quite understand it and don't really know everything that a person with CF goes through every day so that they can breathe. People have, the last couple of years, been a little upset with me because I've gotten a little bit political. And when it comes to, I had a 4 green team, which is living green, buying green, saving green, and then in the end, having a cleaner and greener future for our children and for our families. People have been upset with me because I've gotten real political about it. I've had to adjust my life in so many ways because of the air throughout my life. I thought my whole life that, I was allergic to the air, the dirt, the dust, the pollen when I was in Wyoming, the sagebrush, all those things. And when I moved from Wyoming to Nevada in the early 80s, before it was as populated as it is now, I could breathe a lot better, but there wasn't the pollution there. In fact, I remember back in the 80s, I would drive to California and I would see all the pollution. And I think, oh my gosh, how can people live in this? As you're driving and it was just a haze. I couldn't even imagine how people could live in that. And the next thing I knew, in 10 years, that haze that was in California had moved to Nevada. In the 90s, I moved from Nevada back to Wyoming for two reasons. Number one, the air was so bad, and number two, the traffic. I just had my son Zach, and he was 2 weeks old when I moved back to Wyoming. But I did that, and I was so afraid of what was happening to the air, the water, and the traffic. I knew it wasn't a good or safe place to raise a child. So I moved back to Wyoming, and when I came to Wyoming, again, I was suffering with all the allergies and different things. But as I said earlier, my whole life, I just blamed the environment as to why I couldn't breathe, not knowing many years ago that I had CF, just assuming it was the allergies, it was the air, it was my environment. So our environment is really important, and because of the Industrial Revolution back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, our air continued to get worse. As we talk about eliminating fossil fuels and becoming greener and cleaner, the importance of that is never been more important than it is today. When I say I had to move because of the air, etc., also water. Back in the 80s, I remember when people were talking about bottled water, and I was out water skiing on Lake Mead, and it was so full. I was there at 5 in the morning every morning, and loving life. Never, ever, ever could I have imagined 30 years ago that lake that I loved so much could be over 100 feet down, and the water lines on the walls and the areas where I used to ski and that lake, it's lost over 50 miles of lake area, which on a lake, that's a lot, and it's down over 100 feet and continues to go down every year. I think it's 120 some feet lower than it was in the 90s. So as we talk about climate change, we talk about the air, the water, and what is happening, we'll never, ever, ever see water back in Lake Mead where it was in the 80s. It won't happen in our lifetime. We will continue to source and look for water. Oh, yay, my 20 minutes is up. Because clean air and fresh water are vital to our existence. Without those two things, there's nothing. And so when people get upset with me for being political, for being green, for wanting to make this world better for my children and grandchildren, it's because I've seen global warming. I've seen the changes that have happened to our country. I've also been, as I had expressed earlier, I was in far, far northern Canada. I've been to Greenland and Iceland. I've seen what has happened. I've drank water from the top of a glacier that was melting thousands of gallons a minute. Thousands of gallons a minute melting off in waterfalls. This is something that should never, ever be happening. And so many people who've not gotten out of their box, who've not traveled, have no idea. I know I have many friends and family in Wyoming who've really never ever left. They've never experienced anything but the lakes and the mountains in their areas, and they've not seen the drastic changes in that they are in a little box, almost protected from a lot of what's happening in the rest of the world. And a lot of them don't get outside of the box, so they don't understand. So, again, our air water are the two most valuable things we have. And if we don't protect them, we have no future for our children or grandchildren. So yes, I want a greener, cleaner planet for my kids, for my grandkids. And I will do everything in my power to make sure that my children and grandchildren have clean air to breathe, fresh water to drink, and great organic fruits and vegetables to eat. Because, you've got to be able to feed and fuel your body. And so as long as we have the proper air, sun, water, and lands that are clean and free of pesticides and poisons that are killing us, we can extend our children's lives and they can have a healthier and happier future. And that's really my goal. After all my years of struggling to breathe, there's nobody that wants to make sure that everybody can breathe and breathe happy. And be sure that they're able to have a great life. Because when you can feed your mind, body, and soul with fresh air, with great water and great nutrients, everything else just falls into place. So anyhow, I've been blessed to, as you know, live this long with CF. I'll continue to share with you everything that I know that has helped extend my life. And if we all work together, we can have a cleaner and greener future for our children and grandchildren. My minute for now.